Okay. We have only one equation, and it's ridiculous how easy it is. גידול ודעיכה. So the one equation is like that. mt equals m0 times, let me just, I don't remember the right letter. So let me just look it up for a second. Because every, I just want to make sure I'm doing the same letters you are used to. Okay. And then times q. Let's write it in a good way. So mt, and I will explain what is that in a second, equals m0 times q by the power of t. Okay? And in גידול ודעיכה, do you know the word גידול and דעיכה? You know what it means? Okay.
Yeah.
So it deals with the changing of quantity of things. So this is, and please write it down, and then let's write the explanation for everyone. So m0 is the first quantity.
What is M0? The first what?
The first quantity of whatever we talk about.
Okay.
mt is the final quantity. And T stands for time. So MT is the quantity after the time has passed. T is the time. And Q is the changing rate. And we will see it in a second. Okay? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I told you I had, there is people in the city, and there is 1,000 people in the city. And I want you to tell me what would be the number of people in the city after 5 years. So here, this is the answer. So this is how many people will be over time. Sorry for that. Okay. Now Q is the rate of changing, of the change. So let's say we know that, I will show you in a second, but let's say that the Q is 2. I will explain in a second how you find it. So we started with 1,000 people in the city. The rate is 2, and I told you what would be the number of people after 5 years. So T equals 5. And that's it. And then you do 1,000 times 2 by the power of 5. And this is the number of people after 5 years. Okay? Now let's see the question. Now before that, before we start the question, another thing you need to write. So let's read the first sentence of question 7. Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. אוכלוסיית ישראל נדבקת במחלת הקורונה, very actual, גדלה בצורה מעריכית בקצב של 6.5% ליום. So, we need to focus on 2 things. First of all, do you remember that we talked how to write אחוזים in a normal number? I want to show it as a normal number. No, okay. So the one thing you need to remember that this sign that we call percent or אחוזים, it's actually the sign of over 100. So 6.5% is actually 6.5 over 100. That's it.
Okay.
2% is actually 2 over 100. Okay, this weird sign means over 100. Maybe you want to write it down. Okay. So we have 6.5%, which means 6.5 over 100. Can you use a calculator to tell me what is this number? Just the 6.5 over 100 divided by 100.
Hold on a second. What's 6.5 over 100? Um, 0.0065.
0.065.
No, only not 2 zeros.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the first thing. We need to convert the number in the percentage representation to an actual number that we can work with. So we take the number, we divide it by 100, and we just ask the calculator to give us a normal number. This is the first step. So
Okay.
do it again. 6.5% is actually 0.065. Now we want to find the Q. Now, if we're talking about גידלה, the Q is 1 plus 0.65. If we're talking about ודעיכה, sometimes instead of ודעיכה, they will say קטנה. האוכלוסייה קטנה. Okay, it's the same word. So Q would be 1 minus this.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Did you write it down?
I'm writing it now.
All right. So now read the first question and let me know if you can answer it.
Okay. MB 2000. Okay, so after 4 days, how many? Well, your starting point is 20,305 Toshavim, right?
Yeah.
And then it's plus 4 days.
So M0 is
No, it's plus 4 days. What's the rate though?
No,
is the
but
40?
just a second. First of all, the first number, so 20,305, this is M0 because this is the starting point. So 20,305, that's M0. And now, yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Is the T4?
No. כמה תושבים חולים יהיו לאחר שבוע? How many days is שבוע?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 7.
7, yeah, so T is 7. Why do you think 4? So we can fix it.
No, I don't know why I read like 4 days. I guess I don't know why I read why I read that. Yeah.
So now what's Q?
Is Q the 0.065?
But if you remember, we always, so the Q would be either plus 1 plus this number or 1 minus this number.
Plus.
Okay. So what's Q?
It's going to be 1 plus another number. So it's 1 plus the 0.065?
Yeah. So it's 1.065.
Mm.
And now just take a calculator. And first of all, do this. First of all, do 1.065 by the power of 7. And then times this number.
Yeah, I'm just going to get my other calculator, the one that's,
Mm-hmm.
that I have on me right now. It's like being weird. 1 second. All right. Okay. So 1. Hi.
Hi.
I don't know what happened. I was like talking. Did
Oh,
you hear
okay.
me?
I hear you only now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know what happened.
So did you find the answer?
Does it make sense that I did the one,
I can't hear you anymore.
the 7
Now I hear
times 1.5?
you. Pearl, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. So
Yeah?
weird.
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
You were saying?
Does it make sense that 1.65 to 7 power is like it's like another 1.55?
Yeah.
3. Okay, and then I times that by the,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay, so that's 316.236.
No. Again, first of all, you do 1.065 by the power of 7.
The power of 7.
Then you hit equals.
Right.
And then you hit times, and then you copy this
That's what I
lovely
did.
number. Yeah, so do it again.
Oh, okay, 31,500.
Yeah.
Well, I guess round up to 54. Or
Yeah.
not.
You can round it up. That's okay. Because we're talking about people, right? So it can be a fraction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just to make sure, we said that האוכלוסייה גדלה. This is why we took 1 plus. It means that this number has to be bigger than this number because the number of sick people is going up, not down.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a way for you to make sure you did something right. Okay, so this is just a really simple equation. You just need to plug in the right numbers and that's it.
Okay.
Now, safe bet.
תוך כמה זמן יהיו 35,789 תושבים חולי קורונה?
So now we know M0. It's the same thing, right? It doesn't change. We didn't tell us that it changed. The Q also doesn't change because the ketzev is the same ketzev. But now they asked us, when will we get this number? So we don't know the T because they ask when, right? T stands for the time. So we need to find the T. And we know that the end quantity or the final quantity is 35,789. So this is the equation where you need to find the T. Let me know if you understood why we have this equation.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So what we need to do here is we need to make sure this guy here is alone, first of all.
Okay.
So we have weird number equals weird number times the one with the T. So we need the one with the T to be here alone. How can we do it? And while you're thinking about it, you just do something. But yeah, I can still hear you. Just want to do something meanwhile. Yeah.
Do we want to get the 20,305 to the other side?
Yeah. How do we do it?
Dividing.
Yeah. So do it, please.
Okay. The 3,500.
You need to divide the 3,500 by the 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get something?
Yeah. 1.762. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So write it down and I'm back again. What's the number you got?
1.762570. Wrong number.
1.7.
625.
Yeah, we can stop after
Okay.
3 numbers. That's okay. So
Okay.
that equals this number with the T, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, how do we find the T? And this is where we need to apply log here. So what we're doing, we do, and this is really easy. Just follow my lead for a second.
Okay.
We do log on both sides of the equation. So we do log of 1.762 equals log of 165t. Okay, we just did log on the 2 sides of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do this on your calculator. So do log 1.762. You will get a number.
Log times or just log?
No, just log and then 1.762.
Second. 0.246.
2 or 3?
Is 2.
2.6?
No, 0.246.
246. Okay, perfect. And now let's write something down in our formula notebook.
Mm-hmm.
If we have log of something, let's do a to represent anything by the power of t, it equals to t times log of a. Okay, we can just, according to the rules of the log, we can take this t and move it to be here. This is just a rule, just accept it.
Okay.
Okay. So did you write it down?
Yeah.
Now apply this rule on the right side of the equation here.
So A would be the 0.246.
No, it would be this one.
So T
Yeah.
times log 1.065.
Yeah. And now do that in your calculator. Log of 1.065.
Okay, 0.0027.
0.0027. And now we want to find T, right? So how can we find T?
We can divide that to the other side.
Yes.
Like get it to the other side.
Yeah. So T equals 0.246 divided by 0.0627. How much is this? Let's see if we got it right. Or maybe it's another zero, sorry.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, wait.
Yeah, it's another zero.
0.24. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. 9.11.
Yeah, 9.11. So we can round it up to be 9. Round it down to be 9.
So 9 equals 2.
Okay, and that's it.
That's the whole question.
Mm-hmm.
Not so bad.
So let's just let's try something else. Let's see.
Well, should we do that, the Shווion one, or it's too hard, you think?
Shווyonim, I think we did. No?
Did we do it? I don't remember. Maybe we did it on the first lesson. Maybe I don't know. Did we?
I think let's
We
do
did
another.
numbers?
Let's do another גידול ודעיכה.
Okay.
All right. So let's say. All right. Okay. So I tell you that the first quantity. Okay, it's written here like that. Okay, and there was 102 people in the store. Now, it was the end of the day, and the rate of how to say it in English, but the rate of people leaving the store is 7% per hour. So לשעה. How many people will be in the store after 2 hours? אחרי 2 שעות או שעתיים. So we have 102 people. Every hour, 7% leaves. And I'm asking you, how many people will be there after 2 hours?
So, לשעה, אחרי 2 שעות. So, should we switch the 7?
Sorry?
So you switch the 7 into a decimal.
Yeah. So 7% is?
So 0.07.
0.07, yeah.
So that would be, we're looking for, what is the equation? MT equals M times Q to the T, right? So in the story of 102 people throughout the whole day.
No, now. Now there are 102.
Okay. So that's the MO.
Yes.
Is T 2?
Is what?
Is
Sorry, I can't hear you.
like the 2 hours?
Can you say it again?
Does T equal 2?
Yeah, T equal to. Perfect.
And then is 0.07.
And what?
Is Q 0.07?
No, Q would never be this number. What would be Q? We talked about it. It's one of two options.
The percentage, right?
Yeah. So what would
So
be
it's
Q here?
1. What?
So what would be Q here?
1 point.
No.
1 plus.
No. We said that 7% leaves.
Oh, they leave, so it's minus.
Yes. So it's 1 minus
sorry.
0.07.
0.93.
Yes. That's it. Now we have everything.
Okay, so MT equals 102 times 0.93. $88.
88. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll give you the same question, but I'm asking you, after how many hours I will get only 12 people in the store?
So would you divide the 88?
No,
Right.
that's a new question. I
Oh,
mean, that's a new question within the same exercise, but we had, so now we have 102. My question is, how many hours do I need to wait in order for the store to have only 12 people? And let's say people only leave the store, no one comes in.
okay. So then the MT would be 12.
The MT will be 12, yeah.
The MO is what we're starting with.
Mm-hmm.
The 102.
Mm-hmm.
The T is what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And the Q is still the
Yes.
1 minus the percentage.
The Q doesn't change.
So the Q stays 0.93.
Mm-hmm. And now you have this equation.
Well,
and show me how to solve it.
0.93. Okay, so first get the 102 the other side. 102. So 12 divided by 102. So this is where you'd use the log.
So first of all, what did you do?
So I moved the 102 to the
Mhm.
other side. So I divided 12 by 102,
And you get what?
0.117.
0.117, yeah. And that equals, yeah, okay.
And then, yeah. Okay, so now I put in, do I do log for 10?
You do log for both sides.
Okay, so log 0.117 equals log 0.93. Okay.
Just tell me what you're doing because I don't know.
Okay, fine. So right now I'm doing log 0.117 equals minus 0.931. And then it's t times log 0.93 equals minus 0.03. And then I divide now I divide the minus 0.931 divided by minus 0.03 equals 31 point whatever, I guess just 31 equals 60.
So if I would wait 31 hours, the number of people in the store will be 12.
Okay.
Okay, now here doesn't make a lot of sense because 31 hours, it's more than a day, but that was as far as the question. So just to make sure, T has to be a positive number.
Can't be negative.
Yeah, because we're asking you after how many hours? So you can't ask me to wait minus 2 hours.
Right.
Okay? Perfect. So one more thing that we have in those questions. Let's say I tell you, again, let me write the equation. So the formula, Qt. Now let's say I tell you, sorry for the noise, there is some truck in the street.
I can hear it.
Let's say I tell you that there is first quantity, let's say 50, doesn't matter if it's people or doesn't matter, just for the sake of the question. And Q is 1.3. And now, just let me make sure. I want to check it. Okay. Yeah. Now, I tell you that there is 50 now, and the Q is 1.3. But now I want to know how much. Okay, let's say we talk about people. Okay, we have 50 people, and they're growing in this rate. Now I want to know if I ask you how many people will be after, let's say 10 years. What would you do?
You would add the 1. 10 years would be the T, no?
Yeah. So you would do 10 here, and that would be the number of people after 10 years. If I'm asking, again, sorry for the noise. If I'm asking after 70 years, you would just, instead of the T, you put 70. But if I ask you, what was the number of, not what was the number of people 2 years ago? So in the T, you put
What was the number
minus 2.
ago? Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
So if you're talking about something that happened in the past, you put a minus 2.
Okay.
Yeah, is it clear?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's גידול ודעיכה. It's pretty straightforward. And if you Google it, you will see a lot of questions, and it's gonna be fine. And I will just send you something that I think I sent you last time, but I will send you it again. This is where you can find questions about it. Okay, now, do you want to do, I think we did שוויוניים, you're not sure?
Yeah, I would do it. If we could do it again.
You can do it again.
And we could do anything else. I don't have a preference.
Yeah, so, okay. Let's do that. So, we finished גידול ודעיכה. Let's do שוויוניים. So if I have, let's start with something simple. If I have x minus 2 greater than 0, how do you do it?
Greater than 0, then the signs. Then we know that x is bigger than 0 now.
You need to think of it as an equation.
Okay. So then
So,
you turn the švijonij sign into equal?
yeah, but in your head.
Okay.
So what would you do if it was an equal sign?
If it was an equal sign, then it would be x equals 2.
Yeah, so it's just x greater than 2. Okay? Hello?
Yeah.
All right. Let's say we have x plus 5. Let's say smaller than 0.
So then x is greater than minus 5?
X is smaller.
Smaller.
Did you say smaller? I'm not sure if this is the right word for this context, but let's stick with that.
No, it's greater. The negative 5 would be greater.
If the negative 5 is greater
the
than...
alligator's mouth, besides as a kid, if the alligator's mouth is pointing something, that means that it's greater than the other number.
Yeah. So you say here that x is smaller than minus 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wasn't sure if you used the word smaller or something else for that. So yeah. So you would treat that as it was an equation. Now, there is one thing. If we have, for example, x over 2 smaller than 5, what would you do?
Would you divide the 5 by times the 5 by the 2?
Exactly. So x is smaller than?
X is smaller than 10.
Yes. But if we had a negative number, that's a bit of a different story. So if we had x over minus 4, let's say, smaller than 10, what would you do if it was, like, apply the same logic you applied here on this one, what would you do?
Times negative 4.
So x would be smaller than?
Negative 20.
4 times 10?
No, 440, negative 40.
40. But if we multiply or divide by a negative number, we have to flip the sign. So the sign
So plus
has to
4.
be... No, flip the greater or smaller sign, not the sign of the 4.
If there's a negative, you have to flip the greater or
Yes.
bigger. Let me write that. Okay.
Now, same thing. Let's say, let me know when you finished.
I'm done.
Okay. Now, let's say we had 5x greater than 10. What would you do? So this is the first one. And
10 divided by 5.
yeah. So
So 2.
x is greater than
2, yeah.
2. Perfect. But now, let's say you had 3x minus 3x smaller than 6. What did you do?
Minus 3x. So again, divide by -3 and then flip the sign.
Yeah, so the answer is?
X, -3 is greater than x.
Yeah.
2. Sorry. -2
Almost.
is greater.
Not -2. No, -2 is smaller because we flip the sign.
Okay.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for normal אי-שוויונים. Now let's go for אי-שוויונים ריבועיים. It's not that hard. So let's say you have, and this is part of the test, let's say you have x squared minus x minus 2 greater than 0.
Mm-hmm.
The way to solve it is, first of all, solve the quadratic equation. So actually, you actually do an equation here. Okay, so you actually change the sign to be equal. And now this is משוואה ריבועית that you know how to solve, right?
Yeah.
So let's do it quickly. x12 equals minus 1 plus minus 1 squared minus 4, 1 minus 2 divided by 2 times 1. So it would be 1 plus minus 3. And then we have two answers, 2 or minus 1. Okay? So we have אי-שוויון ריבועי, means that you have a square here. You just solve a simple quadratic equation. And now we do that. We need to draw a ציר, not 2, just only 1. And we put the two numbers that we got, minus 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And now, do you know how to know, so if it's squared, that means it's a parabola.
Right, so in the line, it's cute, it's like חיובי.
Yeah, so the parabola is either happy or sad. Do you know how to find it?
Yeah, well, it starts by going down and then it goes up because it's a negative to positive.
Again, sorry?
Well, it starts off going down, no, because it's -1 and then it goes up to 2.
No, these are only the numbers that makes this equation 0. But how do we know if the parabola is sad, frowning, or smiling, happy? It depends on the מקדם of this guy here. If the מקדם here is positive, the parabola is smiling. If the מקדם is negative, parabola is frowning.
Mm-hmm.
So here it's negative, positive?
No, it's positive.
Positive, it means that the parabola is smiling, and then we can draw it like that. So it's smiling and it touches those 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
And now, let's go here. They asked you when this equation is greater than 0. Now this line, this axis, is the 0 line. So the parabola is greater than 0 here and here, because in this part, it's underneath the 0 line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep.
So the answer to this shוויון is actually x is smaller than -1 and x is greater than 2, because this is the parts where the parabola is above the line.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so this is basically it. Whenever you have שוויון ריבועי, you solve it as a quadratic equation. You put the two numbers on the line, and you see if it's smiling or frowning. And then you go back and you say, hey, they asked me, when is it greater than 0? It's greater than 0 once it's above the 0 line.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a question?
No.
So this is it. Now, they ask you in the test to do something, and then they have two שוויונים, and there is the word וגם between them. So let's go over quickly on וגם and או. So usually you can get, for example, you have, let's say, one שוויון, so x greater than 2, וגם x is smaller than 7. How do you do it whenever you have two things and you have וגם? You draw the line. You draw 2 and you draw 7. You draw all the points that you have. Now here, we know that x is greater than 2. So we have a circle here, and we have a line that goes to the right, because everything under the line is greater than 2. Agreed?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now we have x is smaller than 7. So we have another line above it, and we go left, because everything under this line is smaller than 7. Now, when they ask וגם, it means when do these lines are above each other? And the answer is only here. Only here we have one line above the other. Right?
Between the two, yeah, between the 2 and the 7.
Yeah. So the answer is x is greater than 2, but smaller than 7. So this is how you solve it.
Mm-hmm. That's וגם?
Mm-hmm. Now let's do the same thing with or.
Okay.
And you will watch it again, it will be a little bit more clear.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we had the same thing, but we had o. X smaller than 7. We do the same thing here. So we do 2, we do 7, we do the same drawing. But now, o, it means it has to be either smaller than 2 or greater than 7. So when we have o, we take all the lines. So this line go from 7 to the left, and this line go from 2 to the right. And they cover all the numbers. So every number I choose will meet one of those conditions.
Will either be right. Okay.
So the answer would be here, כל x. No, it's a bit confusing. Let's do another one. Let's just, so let's say I have this one, and let's say I have here 0 and 5. It doesn't really matter. And I have, this is 1 and this is 2. and I do O between them. So it's this or this. So the answer would be x is bigger than 5, is x is greater than 5, and x is smaller than 0. Because it will meet these two conditions, this one and this one.
So that space in between.
Especially between will not, there is no condition to it, so we can't write it. So it's either x greater than 0 or x smaller than 0. X greater than 5 or x smaller than 0. Now, if instead of O, we had vegam here. If you remember, in vegam, we ask actually when or where do the lines are above each other. So what's the answer here?
Well, they're not over each other. They're both going the other way.
So if you have this kind of a graph and you have vegam, the answer is there is no answer. And tshuva. Because they would never be above each other.
Okay.
We did it really fast, and I know it's a new thing. Go over it, and we can cover it in the next lesson.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I feel like I understood it. But yeah.
I wanted